Now, it might seem like it's a little bit of a down moment inside of the CS investing scene. We haven't really been seeing too much as we're waiting for that Shanghai major in about a week, but one big thing has been happening, and that's on the CS2 Twitter account. Now, if you've missed it, the CS2 Twitter account went ahead and updated their banner to this image right here. Now, this image is a lot of different things, but the biggest thing is it's most likely Train. If you didn't know, Train was actually in the official trailer for CS2, and the fact that we have not received it this long after we've been, having the whole CS2 is absolutely insane. But the biggest thing to go along with this is also their replies. We can start off here with Rops, as they went ahead and supposedly leaked this DM, and you can see right here it's talking about an elephant. There is a map called Zoo that we have not seen inside of CS2, so there is the question up there, but the biggest one has to be this right here. Now, Vertigo is one of the least played pro CS maps, and therefore there is an option that Valve might be trying to replace it to get things a little bit more interesting. And if we want to look at this right here, this definitely supports the idea that it could be a swap where we see Vertigo for Train, but we're going to be talking about the major impacts of that in a second. SkinSwap just went ahead and dropped their biggest update ever. Not only are they sponsoring you with that top link in the description, but they're also introducing backpacks, allowing you to buy any item on the site and it's going to be personally held for you. Their trading feature is often told to be the best in the business, offering near instant trades, taking under 30 seconds right now. And their selling feature is instant as well, offering PayPal, crypto, and tons of different options if you're looking to get your money this second. And finally, they've always got that 40% deposit bonus if you're looking to pick up some brand new skins, so try them out today. There's no reason not to. Now, talking about the elephant in the room, Vertigo souvenir packages are up significantly. There's no way around it. These things are up potentially 25 on the low end to nearly 100% on the high end, which is absolutely insane growth when we're talking about a souvenir package, let alone the Vertigo, which really hasn't been popular for its entire span inside of the game. Now, being 100% straightforward about this, I can nearly guarantee you Shanghai is going to be containing Vertigo. Valve has never in the history of CS made a change this close to a major, especially with the RMRs going on. Vertigo is going to be coming back for the Shanghai major. Therefore, if you have Vertigo souvenir package, I would highly suggest you go ahead and sell off some of these other ones, because I feel like the price is going to fall drastically when people actually come to that realization. Right now, we're seeing a little bit of a hype period, which you can definitely capitalize off of, but it's going to return right back to a very similar price point of what it was sitting at beforehand, in my personal opinion. Plus, when you combine that with the fact that the Vertigo souvenir package is one of the lowest unboxed souvenir packages, because people really aren't interested in the skins overall, and we really have a bad formula of trying to make an investment into these in the current moment. Now, because Valve is a pretty logistical company, we have a very strong idea of what's going to happen inside of this area, and what's going to happen is probably what happened last time with Dust 2. That's when the overall major ended. Valve waited about a month, and then they went ahead and introduced Dust 2 into the active duty pool. It's very possible that they could add Train as a secondary map beforehand, but they're not going to switch it into the active duty pool unless it's after Shanghai. Now, there was one very interesting predicament that comes along with this, and that's the 2021 Train collection. Now, going off the idea that maybe Train gets added and there's a souvenir package that comes along with it, this would be the first time in history that we have a collection set up like this. That's because the new Train collection, or the 2021 Train collection that came out with Riptide rather, has 2 coverts, 3 pinks, 5 purples, and 7 blues. This is the setup of a normal case, not something that we would see for a normal collection. And if you remember during Riptide, that's exactly how it functioned. It wasn't like one of the rest of the collections. It was a little bit different, and therefore you could choose the item of the rarity you wanted. Very interesting of what Valve would try to do here. If they would come out with a brand new Train collection again, I honestly don't think that's too far out of the question, especially based off everything we're seeing now. Valve is definitely trying to work on their collection game, as we saw the brand new Overpass and such. Now, talking about that case market, you can call me crazy optimistic, but I'm starting to see a lot of really good things, starting off with our cheaper cases. Specifically, the Snakebite has gone absolutely crazy over the past month. It's up about 30%, which is a really crazy movement, considering this is one of the cases we expect to stay at a super low price point for a significant amount of time. The fact that it's moving this crazy right now definitely shows people are interested in those super cheap cases. If we want to head over to the clutch case, we can definitely see that trend continuing here. It's up about 17 to 20% in the past month, which is once again a really solid number, especially for a cheaper case like this. Now, when we follow it up with some of our little bit more expensive, cheaper rare cases, talking about our Prismas, our Danger Zones and such, they've been on a pretty flat line over the past month, which is honestly really acceptable, really satisfactory, honestly. As long as we're seeing solid unboxing numbers, which we definitely are, I would definitely say I'm completely fine with just seeing these prices stagnate. Nothing is going to make these things go absolutely crazy in the short term here, but long term, I'm definitely very strong inside of this area. I think this is a perfect outlook for everything we're looking inside of this moving forward. Now, if you're someone that's invested into major capsules, we're going to be checking out some brand new data that I think is going to be very useful for your investment, starting off with Paris. Now, obviously, Paris has been relatively in the dumps for the most part. When we're talking about our sticker capsules, they're really at a super cheap price point we've never seen in the history of CS. But if we want to check out the application data, we can see right here the overall numbers doesn't really seem too impactful. Checking out the breakdown, start off with our glitters. We've seen a couple glitters on the rise, but overall, generally speaking, pretty much a downtrend inside of this area. And the hollows, very similar story. The biggest thing I want to point out here is the major drop off between months. If we want to look at September, we saw 22,000 for the Legends, only 14,000 in October. That's a crazy drop off, and it's consistent all across the board, especially as we move into the golds. This is a crazy decrease, and it's really a bad outlook for Paris in the current market. Now, the other one I want to point out is Antwerp. That's because overall, I'm a very bullish person on Antwerp. I think it's at a little bit of an undervalued stance, and overall, I think it's got a lot of opportunity inside of this area. If we want to look at the application numbers inside of the hollows, we can see that we're seeing a very similar trend in terms of a drop off. But if we want to look at the contenders capsule, which is the one that I focused in on, we can see that it's a very slight drop off, only about a 15% decrease compared to, about a 30% for what we're seeing for the Legends, and the challengers ended up remaining relatively even. Overall, stickers as a whole have been in a huge competition with Copenhagen. Copenhagen's been going absolutely crazy inside of this area. It's absolutely insane to see a major in today's age do as well as Copenhagen, especially considering obviously it's a borderless sticker. There is some unique factors about it. It's not an exact copy like we saw 3 times in a row, but it's definitely not unique enough for it to be a non-borderless sticker. It's absolutely crazy the growth we're seeing inside of this area, and I'm very interested to see where this ends up overall, because Copenhagen has definitely prevailed inside of an area where no one thought it really stood a chance. Now, if you don't remember, a while ago, agents were going absolutely crazy. We were seeing 100 to 200% growth over the span of a month, and it's finally started to tone down. If we want to look at the rest of the agent market right now, it could seem like it's absolutely crashing. The majority of agents are down possibly 30 to 40% on the high end, most of them around the 20% mark, which is honestly really acceptable. If you want to look at it, this obviously seems like an absolutely catastrophic event for the agent market, but the majority of these are just kind of leveling out. Obviously, we're taking a very all-time peak, comparing it to the price we're at now. Obviously, we weren't going to stay at that all-time peak. I want to say definitely this is not something that you want to see as an investor, but this is a really healthy cycle. This is how the CS market moves, and this is how you're able to make so much money inside of CS investing because of events like this. If you want to look at it, I'm very confident that this area is going to recover just fine, and if you're really looking to get into the agent market, now might be the opportunity you've been looking for. Now, finally talking about that Armory, it's in a very interesting predicament once again because the ROI is still staying up there relatively high. We definitely expected these ROIs to move in waves, but the fact that it's still sitting at a relatively high price point, especially for an ROI like this, is absolutely insane. And I've gotten the question of what should be sending your stars on. Right now, it's once again still those Elemental Craft sticker collections. It's sitting at around a 200% ROI, but the biggest thing is you're making profit on nearly 50% of your attempts. The variation is extremely low inside of this area because a lot of the blue stickers are really expensive. That's absolutely perfect. Obviously, the collections for the skins have gotten a decent ROI boost. They're all back 100% or above, but the biggest thing you got to focus in on is that profit percentage. Right now, you're only making a profit on 1 every 8 or 9 attempts for the overpassing graphic and 1 out of every 17 for the sport and field. These are really bad odds considering on average, you're probably going to have just a couple attempts. If you're trying to profit from the Armory, these are not it. Go for the stickers. That's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day.